And Scott Talks at 74 degrees, September 13th, 2025. Beautiful morning, about 9:21, walking in about a half mile. Just a neighborhood walk, it's the way to go. Got a little secret in my shoes. I got some of these work soles, insoles at the store for about 15 bucks. I think at Publix it was. And I finally cut them and put them in my shoes. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm bouncy. They're nice and soft. And, you know, they're like for all day. I said, well, that'd be good for a walk. Better than the little thin things that come with shoes these days. So I switched them out. They're good. They're great, man. Good for walks. Heel toe, turn. They're good. They got my old balance on. 608s, right? Yep. 608s. I think they're a cross trainer. They're not a walking shoe. But going to get some walking in. Walking shoes are supposed to be a little wider, the ends, and these are wide anyway because I have a wide foot. But they're good. You get out and walk. You gotta walk. I do a lot of cycling but in resistance training, you need to do some of that because you want to give your bones a little stress with some weights. When you get a little older, a lot of weight's not good. That could be powerlifting. It's just repetition with small weights. That's the way to go. Add a little weight and do a squat with the weights. I got some ankle weights for walking, and I didn't do them today. Forgot about them today. But I've got adjustable, they have little pockets. And you put in a little pocket, a little piece of weight, soft, cushy, like sand weight. And I've got 2 in there right now. I'm gonna try out, but I forgot them. Forgot to put them on and do a little walk around, get some resistance in. But I accidentally ordered 2 sets, so I've got another one that's full, and I can put it on my neck and shoulders and do squats, or I can do push-ups. Get some resistance, do it on the table, or actually try the floor. It's neat. It gives you that resistance to curb osteoporosis comes sneaking in on you. That's what you need. You need a little resistance to push back. Here comes a little donkey. You see people. Yeah, we got a little flag at half staff. Charlie Kirk's assassination. How are you today?
Good morning,
Good. Hey, Pop. Yeah.
How you want?
Thank you, you too. What a good little doggy. Nice doggy. So you get out and walk, you meet people. Get some exercise. The more you walk, the more you keep going. We're going to do another lap because we haven't kind of weave and bob by the mailbox, but not pick anything up yet because I'm still walking. Walking. And I'm going to face traffic because I want to see it coming. There we go. That's the way you do it. Listening to my audiobook today. Not right now because I'm talking to you guys. Turned it off. It's a book about Jimmy Buffett. Let's see. Can't do a screenshot or anything. Can't get out of this. Ooh. But it's giving his life story. Even his grandfather talks about his story. He was the actual captain of the seas in the song Captain and the Kid. The Kid's Jimmy Buffett. There's the mailbox. Say hello and bye. But it's close enough to the house that it's not too inconvenient to get to. And of course, the captain was the granddad, and he loved his granddad. So, and there's a history of his dad, and mom, and what they did, and the fact that Jimmy was born on Christmas Day, different things like that in there. And then it starts going into his early years, struggling songwriter, trying to get his fix in Nashville. It's interesting. I'm almost done with it. I think my next audiobook will be Dan Brown's Secret of Secrets. That should be interesting. With Da Vinci Code author. Another chapter of, was it Robert Langdon, the character that Tom Hanks played in all the movies? Maybe they'll bring him back for another movie. You never know. I think Ron Howard directed most of those movies. But it's a neat history of all his songs and his work. The surprise that he got Margaritaville as a hit. You know, he had recorded it and thought to get the music industry just was having such a big time with Jimmy Buffett. You know, they'd like his work, they liked him, but they were like, what are you? Are you country, are you pop, you rock? And he wasn't any of those things because he was slowly becoming that Caribbean music. The guy, the beach bum, he was trying to get away from country, hanging out, you know, getting some success, going to Aspen, got a place in Aspen, get some money, and hanging out with the Hollywood people. That was what he's doing. But when Margaritaville started taking out, you know, he was just kind of, he'd been playing tennis with Jack Nicholson and stuff like that in the Hollywood crowd. And his agent, publicist guy, whatever, he had called and said, hey, what you doing? He said, well, I just played tennis with Jack Nicholson, and I'm doing this, and I'm going to a party. He said, forget it. Margaritaville's made the Billboard charts, and it's climbing. You need to get the band together and go on tour. And he's like, what? Really? So off they went. That was the deal, man. You got a hit, you go on tour. You're going to be everywhere you can be. And not just the little college campuses and the little beer joints with a couple people watching. You know, he is slowly getting away from that time in his life. But and wheeling and dealing and getting people to, you know, sing on his records and appear on his records and produce, getting George Martin to help him and different things. When he wrote Fins, a friend of his was like, that sounds awful familiar. Isn't that my song? You changed the words to it. And Jimmy just kind of holds his hand up for 10 fingers, like I'm giving you 10%. I used part of your song, your lyrics. And the guy's like, oh, okay. I'll take that, 10%. And the rest is history. And they wrote a lot of songs together. They would just sit back, get drunk, and go to parties and live life, and another song would pop up. It's interesting. It's a fascinating story. So I'm going to continue with that. I'll put a little note in the notes what the actual book's called. But yeah, it's a good little walk. Here and on top of the world. Kind of the slower, easier version of the villages in Florida. If you like staying out late and partying and going to the square and watching live music, we've got some live music at our little square. We had a little baby square, and it's got a coffee shop and an ice cream shop and some other little businesses. A learning center that's great for grabbing your coffee, and the area where people sit for the learning center is great for sitting and drinking the coffee. Duh. And they have places so it's tons of places to sit, and bathrooms, and some water fountains, and different things like that. So it's a nice, chill place compared to the villages. We were at the villages when we were doing some shopping, and stopped in real quick to get a little milkshake or float or anything. And it cost about $20 there. As we were trying to head home, it was getting dark, and they were just wrapping up the band, and things were starting to close, so it was already dark. And we zipped in this, I'm trying to think if it was called Scoops or what it was called, but it was in the original town square, Brownsville, or something like that. And I like the villages. We looked at the villages, and they had us look at an area near an interstate. And I was like, what's that noise? And I'm looking around. There's the interstate. I'm like, oh, God, I'm not living next to an interstate. She's like, oh, you won't hear it from the house. I'm like, BS. What if I want to go outside and sit? I'm not listening to vroom, vroom, trucks going by 24/7. Stupid. And, of course, they had other places we could look. But I told my wife the trick with the villages is to be near the real world, not the $20 ice cream places and coffee shops. You want to be near Starbucks, McDonald's, Walmart, things like Target, things like that. If you can get to that place quick, a couple grocery stores, you know what I mean? And near your mailbox. I saw videos where people were riding their golf carts for just riding. Where are they going? We went to go get the mail. I was like, jeez. And then they went to the grocery store, and I was like, jeez. And of course, they meet everybody. They had this huge building for the mail, and everyone's there talking to each other. And I'm like, well, that's nice, but still, it's not just around the block. You know what I mean? I was like, wow, that's pretty far away. So I was like, if you could find a house that's a year or two old, it's not that old, and you're close to the exits, because my wife's uncle lived in the original part of the villages, and she goes, I hated going to this place because it took 20 roundabouts to get to the place. And I was like, yeah, these things are interesting. We were zipping around some roundabouts too. And I was like, yeah, they're all right, but they're, it's still a ways in. And when we looked at Stone Creek here in Ocala, they had a 1 mile entrance, just pretty trees on the side. And now if you go, they're wrapping up building it'll be a couple more years, but they're wrapping up building, and they've already gutted those trees for, they're going to put houses there. And some of the residents were told that it was going to be an extension of the golf course. I'm like, oh, well, buddy, not anymore. And we've got a place out here that I just got confirmation that's where some cattle wasn't. I could put the cattle in some of my videos. Like, so if you look at the playlist, look what you see. And I'm there at the moo cows and the cattle. They're cattle. And all that land, grass is growing up real high, and they're just letting it grow. Probably letting some trees pop up so they can use them, probably, or just can plow it under. But it's proposed for houses. I said, you're going to have shops here. I could tell that was already built years ago with the little cut-throughs already built into the side. Kind of like, if you're on a curb, it's like a real curb on the side of the road, right? So pretend this is a real curb. And then you get to the side, and it's got a cut-through right here where you can add a driveway of some kind or a side road. And it was obvious it was probably meant for shops. You know what I'm saying? But our little place with its shops got a lot of business, and then it was just, average business. So they probably figured, we're not going to add retail again. We're going to probably do houses now. And what those little cut-throughs will be, only time will tell whether they'll actually lead into a part of a neighborhood. You can cut in and go into a place to park, maybe a park. Maybe they'll have a park at the beginning. But down in Stone Creek, just down the road, they're houses, it looks like, all the way down to almost to the road. And just gutted the place. And just plowed it all under. And that's what they'll probably do to this place with the cattle work. Because, when you're looking at homes and they're saying, hey, look at this. And I'm like, what are you doing with this land? This extra land back here. He said, oh, that's owned by the top of the world people. And that's their cattle, and they're not going to move. How you doing? That's nice, Mike. Nice. So, I was like, yeah, right, whatever. Land's worth money. And cattle can go anywhere. You just go down the road 20 miles where it's still country and put more cattle out there. Buy a bunch of land, fence it in, and boom, you got a place for cattle. Or buy one of these horses. There's tons of horse ranches around here. You can just buy one. It's already got fencing around it and put the cattle there. Somebody that doesn't want to stay in the horsey business. And you got a place for cattle. You got a barn already. You've got a lot of stuff already there. Or you can build your own. You have plenty of time to decide whether you're going to let that grass grow. I mean, it's growing a lot. So I think it's going to go right out to 80th Avenue, leaving Wayborn Landing to 80th Avenue, straight out where you curve in a little to go to Circle Square Commons, the shopping area. Yeah, that's going to go straight out. And they're building a road to connect Stone Creek to On Top of the World, because that's always been planned too, I'm sure. And as it wraps up, they're going to add that road, so all those Stone Creek people won't have to go a mile all the way out to 80th Avenue. They'll be able to sneak through at Circle Square Commons, and that'll add to the business, which would incentivize you to put more shops instead of houses there where the cattle was. But I guess they'll see. I guess they're proposing it. They'll see. Oh, it's mail time now. So we'll see. But get out there and walk. Like, share, and subscribe. It's been fun. And for all you On Top of the World people looking, Villages is nice. Stay close to the real world. And On Top of the World's nice. And Stone Creek's nice. I mean, it's just, if you think about it, it's just a neighborhood that has some amenities that you may or may not ever use, right? You got a pool. All the areas have pools and little area, clubhouse areas and stuff, but so do most area neighborhood in town. So, but it's nice here. HOA is pretty reasonable in Waypoint Landing. And that's why we looked at it. Okay, bye.